Today, I'm interviewing Candace Craw-Goldman, helping awaken the others on this planet since 2000. She has been a quantum healing hypnosis therapy practitioner since 2008. She assisted Dolores Cannon personally in her live classes for several years before her passing. She founded and continues to run the original Dolores Cannon Worldwide Professional Support Forum for QHHT practitioners. You can also hear Candace bi-weekly on Tuesdays with her BBS internet radio show called New Earth Journey. She also has a weekly show Fridays within 5D Radio called Quantum Healing with Candace. Candace offers coaching and consulting services, and you can find her at newearthjourney.com. Stay tuned. This is a very exciting interview. Aloha! You've tuned in to the Hawaii Healing Network, and I'm your host, Kristina Mekdeci. This was mentioned several times. I heard it, I believe, in level 1 and then level 2 about the woman whom you helped with cancer. The cancer went away. The doctors said the cancer was gone, and she learned all the things that she would have to continue to do to keep that state of being. And then all of a sudden the cancer came back. Can you tell that story?
Sure. Yeah, I'd be happy to tell that story. On the outside, it looks kind of like a sad story. And yet at the same time, because I can tell this story and because it does have the ending that it has, I think it really helps people even more than if it would have had a happy ending, right?
Yeah.
The woman came to me and she had esophageal cancer of the esophagus, and it had already spread. It had already spread multiple places, organs throughout her body. She didn't know she had it until it was stage 4 and terminal. The first oncologist that she went to see was actually, it was a sad story. He was basically, go home, honey. There's nothing to be done. You need to go home and enjoy the time you have left. Nobody comes back from cancer that's this far gone. No chemotherapy, nothing's going to work here. And she didn't want to hear that as an answer, so she went to a different oncologist and told her story to the second oncologist, who said, well, my colleague was right in what he said happens with most people at this stage, but you seem to have a good attitude, so why not? Come on in, we'll start you on chemo and we'll see where it goes. He was realistic, but he also held out a little bit of hope. Well, she had just done one chemotherapy treatment when she came to see me for a QHHT session. And she had a session, and it was very powerful, and her higher self gave her a list of 7 things to do. It was to stop a relationship with 2 different people, a man and a woman. It was to change diet. It was to follow her interest in music for sound healing. It was to listen to her session. It was a couple other things. There was one very main, for me anyway, when I review this case. One big point in the 7 things she was supposed to do was to tell her oncologist that had the session, he's open-minded. He would be interested in this. If he knows that you did this and this helped remove the cancer from your body, he is in a position of being the director of this large cancer center to open his eyes and his heart to the possibility of this kind of healing for hundreds, if not thousands of people into the future. It was poised. It was one of the reasons that the SC said, yes, this is your path. And one of the reasons is because you need to tell this cancer doctor about this, right? Mm-hmm. So, great session. They said we removed all of the cancer right away. Wow. The original session happened in August. Right around Thanksgiving time, I remember getting an update from the woman who said they didn't even re-scan her till a couple other chemo treatments over the latter part of that year. And then they did a rescan and blood work, and all the cancer was gone. The doctor was ecstatic. I mean, ecstatic in, he wasn't expecting this. He'd never seen it before. Not that kind of cancer, not that kind of aggressive cancer that it was that far gone and into all of her organs. And so what he did subsequently was he took her by the shoulders. Can you imagine this in a cancer center? And he paraded her around all of the rooms as an example of how think about it. He was so excited for her and so taken with this idea that she was back to complete normal health, didn't have a trace of cancer in her. And he was jubilant, and he was bringing her into all the rooms with people who needed hope that that kind of thing could happen for them, except for my client never told him that she'd had a session at all. And not only that, she didn't do any of the other things on her list, not any of them.
Was she in doubt that she was cured?
No, because she was cured. That's the interesting thing. So nothing would have ever changed from about that time. It was about Thanksgiving. And then I heard from her again in January, and she said, the cancer's back. And that's when I went and got the folder, my client folder, and I looked at it, and, and I'm on the last page, she's supposed to do, and then these 7 things. And so I just went down the 7. Well, did you? How are we doing on these 7 things? And she just said, no. She didn't do any of them. She didn't do any of them. And I said, oh, girl, what do you think? She's like, I know. I was like, really? You're giving your life back and you're told to do these 7 things? But, her own choice. And I said, come back. Let's do another session.
Okay.
And this is actually pretty rare. I don't know about you, but it's pretty rare you have a repeat session.
Right.
So she comes back for a second session, and this session was more powerful than even the first one. Wow. It was astounding. One of the people that she was supposed to stop having a relationship with was a man. She goes back to a past life, and again, this is just a regular past life. She goes back to a past life. She's a secretary, and she's getting in a cab, and it seems to be 1930s, 40s time era. And I remember being kind of amazed at this, because as she sits in the cab, this, she's laying in a bed having this regression, but she's, experiencing this movie in her head, this experience of a past life. She's in New York City, she tells the cabbie the address. Wow. So afterwards, I go look up the address, and I get to see what building all of this happened in. Yeah. So she goes back, she goes to this apartment building, and I'm just following her in her day. And she had just left work. She worked for a bank. She was bringing home some folders. She was going to her apartment. She set her folders aside. She took off her work clothes. She was putting on a dress to go out. She had a date. She gets herself dolled up. She meets her date at an Italian restaurant. For some reason, she takes her folders, even though she'd been at work. I don't know why. She took her folders with her. So she's in this Italian restaurant having dinner with this man who was her boyfriend. And I'm just asking the question, well, what happens next? At one point while she's having dinner, she takes the folders and she hands them to the man. Everything on her face, even laying down in bed, changes. She goes, oh, I know what's going on now. They stand up from the table, and the man takes her out behind the restaurant in an alley and shoots her. What? And kills her. Yeah. He just wanted the folders. She worked at a bank. It was all a ruse. He didn't care about her.
Oh, wow.
He just wanted that information. When we got to why did you show her this life, the higher self said, that man killed you in that life, and he's killing you in this life.
Wow. So after the second session, we never heard about the second session. What transpired with her after that?
Well, she was told the same exact thing. She was told to do the same 7 things.
Okay.
Pretty interesting stuff, too, because I remember asking both in the first and second session about the chemotherapy. Almost always, the higher self says, stop the chemotherapy. It's poison. It doesn't help. Cancer is normally anger of some kind, but it's definitely conflict held within the body. Putting poison in there doesn't really help anything unless you think it does, right? Anyway, most of the time, the higher self says, stop taking the chemo. But not in this case. And I about fell off my chair when the higher self said that, because it was one of the first times I'd ever heard that. And I said, what do you mean don't take the chemo? And they said, well, see, she was a single woman. She didn't have family. And everyone in her support system, anyone who was helping her at all in this, severe illness, was very traditional minded. The SC explained that if she stopped chemotherapy, her whole support system would fail. She wouldn't get car rides. She wouldn't get help at her house. She wouldn't get help anywhere because they would have taken that as a sign from her that she wanted to die. The higher self said, we'll mitigate it. We'll neutralize all of the chemo and the poisons. Just have her keep doing that. She needs people to help her. But we will remove the cancer again. And I'll never forget that one because this gal sweat bullets during that healing. I mean, just sweat poured off of her, just dripped off of her as, you know, the light went through and removed all the cancer from her body the second time. It was far more powerful the second time. And again, saying she has no more cancer. Off she went again, this time saying she would do those 7 things, all 7 of those things, right? It ends up being a sad story still for me because this person, even though she wasn't a close friend, I was friendly with her and she was in my area. And I occasionally would see her. I think it was 3 or 4 months later after the second session, and I saw her at a big group event. And I remember seeing her like across the room.
Oh, she wasn't doing the 7 things.
So I never talked to her again, and she passed away a few months after that. Her choice.
It is.
And you know what? The thing is, I get to tell that story now.
Yeah.
And think about how powerful that story is. How many people have heard that story? It may be the way that she has changed things on this planet. That story.
The most important thing is after you get a session is listen to the session again and follow the instructions that you have been given to yourself. Yeah. And it's amazing. We're getting that information from our higher selves. Sometimes me included, we don't listen.
That's free will. That's part of what it is, being on this planet and having free will. Not all life forms and all systems have as much free will as we do. We're kind of an experiment in free will, and we're creatures of habit. Oh boy. We want to do today, 90% almost the same thing that we did yesterday, and tomorrow we're going to do 90% of the things that we did today, and to be kind of different. That's very difficult for humans. Sometimes it's just not possible. One of the ways that you can think about it, though, is this. This really is a play. Our real selves are somewhere completely different. From that perspective, from the higher self perspective, it's a little bit like, okay, there's part of me here and part of me here and part of me here. And, we'll just do it again better next time. And it's not as big of a deal from that perspective, even though down here we're like life and death. And it is life and death for this perspective, for this focus, which is very singular and very much on the conscious personality that's acting out in this body. So you just have to look at it a little differently. And that makes another very fascinating facet of this work. I like to say this sometimes to clients too. Think about a day. Take a day if you can, sometime, in the near future. If you can imagine yourself doing this, imagine getting up that morning and doing nothing else except for the very first thing that comes to your mind to do the entire day. So, we have our days, and you might have a thought like, I should call so-and-so, or maybe I should stop working and go do this. But you argue with yourself and you talk yourself out of, what you should do or what the belief system is or what your schedule is. But take a day somewhere there where you do nothing more than go, I should do this. Oh, that's an interesting thing. And just follow that throughout the day and watch how magical your day becomes. Because that's you listening to your higher self. Things become easier that way. Mm-hmm. When you feel yourself having some arguments in your head, try to break those two up in there and stop arguing and really pay attention to that small little voice in your head, the one that's just right below the surface trying to get your attention. Often it's your conscious mind or your beliefs.
Dolores is with us because I was getting the tingles the whole time. We know Dolores doesn't channel. If there's a message that she would like to share with us now, could you let us know that message?
How about one she gave me this morning?
Okay.
She told me that if you are looking backwards, you can't go forward as quickly as you might be able to. So stop looking backwards and just keep moving forwards. Don't think small.
Wow, great.
I actually have 2 radio shows myself. I have one biweekly Tuesdays called New Earth Journey, and then Friday nights in 5D Radio sponsors a show called Quantum Healing with Candace. So I'm really busy with those radio shows. But yes, newearthjourney.com is my website and to find a practitioner or more information about, excuse me, about this amazing work, you can visit Dolores Cannon, QHHT.com. And Kristina, do you ever make it to the mainland? I'd like to,
I love you. I don't usually go to the mainland. I am definitely
Where
an
are
island.
you? Where are you? I know Hawaii.
Maui. The Hawaii Healing Network has just been taking off, and I've been having great interviews with everyone. And
that's amazing.
A lot of healers on this island. Doreen Virtue's out here. That was Dolores' good friend.
Yeah.
And have you been to Hawaii?
Actually, yes. And I was so small. I have the tiniest little memory. I think I was less than 2. And I only have one memory, and that was I was walking by some place where there was a fountain, and the fountain was turned off, and the fountain turned on, like right when I was next to it, and I jumped into my dad's arms. That's my memory of Hawaii. That's it. So I could use with a few more memories, like with some beach, feet up, in a chair somewhere, soaking in some sun. Love to come visit.
Yeah.
You should keep me posted on your events or gatherings or whatever.
When we're working on that too, because right now I've got some wonderful Hawaiian friends. We're actually talking right now and communicating on our first workshop and bringing that together somewhere in January. And I know what's going to happen. I want to bridge the gap to bring the healers from the mainland to Hawaii, especially to Maui, because there's so much healing power out here. There's so many places where there's vortexes and energies, and I mean, I get tingles when I think about it because it's really powerful still on this island.
That's amazing. Well, you know what? January on Maui sounds fabulous to me. You keep me posted. January out my window, and off of the ice, 40-mile-an-hour winds with wind chills way below 0. So you just keep me posted on that, would you?
Right now, I think Maui's got only 3 that I'm aware of, quantum healing hypnotherapists. One works up at Lemuria. Another one just emailed me the other day. She just took the online course. And then I think I'm the only level 2, excited to be level 3. Light Council was calculating numbers for me because I don't do math very well. And they were like, Kristina, if you did 2 sessions a day, every day of the week, and I said, every day of the week, they go, okay, 6 days a week for the rest of your life. And they showed me the number. It was only 59,000, or it was a small number. That's the amount of people you could help. We need more practitioners. We need more people out there doing this work and helping out, because one person can't even touch a small fraction of the amount of people on this earth.
That's right. That's absolutely right. We definitely need more of us out there doing this.
And there's still a lot of people that come here. And what a great way. Go on vacation, get the most amazing session of your life. Hawaii looks way more beautiful. You see other things you would never have seen before. Then you go back home and you're like, wow, your life is so different.
Sounds amazing. Count me in. Well,
Candace, it was wonderful talking with you. Thank you so much.
It was wonderful talking with you too. I really enjoyed this.
Have a great day and aloha.
You too. Aloha. Bye-bye.